Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair on the bridge of the UES Defiant. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the gentle buzz of life support systems. Jake had been captain of this warship for 3 years now. He knew every sound the ship made, every vibration that ran through her metal hull. The Defiant was not like the sleek ships he had seen in old movies as a child. She was built for war, not beauty. Her hull was thick and gray, covered with armor plating and weapon systems. She looked like what she was, a machine built to fight and survive. The ship had been constructed during Earth's resource wars, when nations fought over the last drops of oil and clean water. Those days were over now, but the ships remained. "Captain Morrison, sir," came a voice from across the bridge. Jake turned to see Lisa Park, his communications officer, looking at her screen with wide eyes. Lisa was young, maybe 20, with short black hair and quick fingers that could work any radio system ever built. "What is it, Park?" Jake asked. He had learned not to ignore that tone in her voice. Lisa only sounded like that when something big was happening. "Sir, I'm getting a signal from the Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna. They say it's urgent. Priority Alpha." Lisa's fingers moved across her console, bringing up the incoming message. Jake felt his stomach tighten. Priority Alpha meant only one thing, something that could change everything for humanity. Put it on the main screen, the front screen of... The bridge flickered and showed the face of Admiral Betty Crawford. She was an older woman with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too many wars. Betty had been fighting for Earth since before Jake was born. If she looked worried, then everyone should be worried. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Crawford said, her voice serious and steady. "What I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest. Level 3. Hours ago, our deep space arrays picked up radio signals from the Proxima Centauri system. These are not natural signals, Jake. They show clear structure, patterns, and intelligence behind them." Jake felt the blood drain from his face. In his 38 years of life, he had never thought this day would actually come. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "Are you certain, Admiral?" Jake asked, though he knew Betty Crawford never made mistakes about things like this. "Dead certain. Our best scientists have been studying the signals for hours. There's no doubt we've found alien intelligence. And Jake, they're not trying to hide from us. These signals are strong, clear, and directed toward our solar system. They know we're here." Around the bridge, Jake's crew had stopped their work to listen. He could see the mix of fear and excitement on their faces. His first officer, Commander Steve Johnson, was a tall man with steady hands and a calm mind. Steve had fought beside Jake in the last of the resource wars. He never showed fear, but Jake could see concern in his brown eyes. "What are your orders, Admiral?" Jake asked. Admiral Crawford leaned forward in her chair. "The Defiant is our most advanced warship, and you have the best crew in the fleet. I'm ordering you to Proxima Centauri to make first contact with whatever intelligence is out there. This is the most important mission in human history, Captain." Jake felt the weight of those words. The most important mission in human history. Everything humanity had worked toward, everything they had built, everything they had learned. It all came down to this moment. "How long do we have to prepare?" Jake asked. "You leave in 6 hours. I'm sending you all the data we have on the signals, plus every piece of first contact protocol we've ever written. Dr. Helen Wade will be joining your crew as the mission xenobiologist. She knows more about possible alien life than anyone else on Earth." Jake nodded. He knew Dr. Wade by reputation. She was brilliant, maybe the smartest person he had ever met. If humanity was going to meet aliens, having her along was a good idea. Captain Admiral Crawford continued, "I need you to understand something. The Defiant wasn't built for exploration. She was built for war, but she's also the toughest, most advanced ship we have. Whatever is waiting for us out there, I want you to be ready for anything." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Jake looked around at his crew. These were good people, brave people, who had volunteered to serve on a warship even during peacetime. Now they were about to become the first humans to meet an alien species. "Well," said Steve Johnson, breaking the silence, "I guess we're not in Kansas anymore." Lisa Park laughed nervously. "Sir, should I send a message to Earth? Tell our families what's happening?" Jake thought about his sister back on Earth, working as a teacher in New York. What would he tell her? That her brother was about to fly across the galaxy to shake hands with aliens? That he might never come home? "Send personal messages to your families," Jake said finally. "Tell them you love them, but don't tell them where we're going. That information stays classified until we return." Chief Engineer Carlos Martinez spoke, up from his station. Carlos was a short, stocky man with grease under his fingernails and a mind like a computer. "Captain, I'll need to run full diagnostics on the fusion drive. If we're going to travel to another star system, everything needs to be perfect." "Do it," Jake said. "How long until we can leave?" "Give me 4 hours, and the Defiant will be ready for anything," Carlos replied. Jake stood up from his captain's chair and looked around the bridge one more time. In a few hours, this ship and her crew would leave Earth's solar system for the first time. They would travel faster than light across the empty darkness between stars. They would represent all of humanity to whatever was waiting for them. "You heard the Admiral," Jake said. "This is the most important mission in human history. Let's make sure we're ready." As his crew rushed to prepare the ship, Jake stared out the front window at the stars. Somewhere out there, among those tiny points of light, alien beings were waiting to meet humanity. He just hoped that when they did meet, it would be as friends and not as enemies. The Defiant was a warship, built for battle and survival. Soon, Jake thought, they might find out just how well she could do both. 3 months had passed since the Defiant left Earth's solar system. The journey through hyperspace felt like traveling through a tunnel of twisted light and impossible colors. Jake Morrison had spent those months preparing his crew for whatever they might find at Proxima Centauri. Dr. Helen Wade had run training sessions about possible alien contact. She was a thin woman with blonde hair and bright blue eyes that seemed to see everything. Helen had theories about what alien life might look like, how they might think, and how humans should behave around them. But theories were just theories. Nobody really knew what was waiting for them. "Captain, we're approaching the drop point," called out Commander Steve Johnson from his station. Steve had been checking and double-checking their course for the past week. There was no room for mistakes when you were traveling between stars. "All stations, prepare for hyperspace exit," Jake announced over the ship's communication system. Throughout the Defiant, 200 crew members secured their equipment and strapped themselves into safety harnesses. Dropping out of hyperspace was always rough, like being thrown from a moving car. The ship shuddered and groaned as reality bent around them. The tunnel of light collapsed, and suddenly they were floating in normal space again. Jake felt his stomach settle as the artificial gravity systems came back online. "Lisa, give me a full sensor sweep," Jake ordered. Lisa Park's fingers danced across her console as she activated every scanning system the Defiant had. For several minutes, the only sound on the bridge was the beeping of computers and the hum of electronics. "Captain," Lisa said, her voice filled with amazement, "you need to see this." The main screen came alive with an image that made everyone on the bridge gasp. Orbiting the planet Proxima b was a massive space station. It was bigger than any structure humans had ever built, stretching for miles in every direction. The station was made of smooth metal that seemed to shine with its own light. Strange shapes and towers jutted out from its surface, and Jake could see dozens of ships docked at various ports. "My God," whispered Dr. Wade, "it's beautiful." The alien ships were nothing like human vessels. Where the Defiant was blocky and covered with armor, These ships were smooth and elegant. They curved and flowed like living things, with surfaces that seemed to change color in the light of Proxima Centauri's red sun. "Captain, I'm reading at least 12 different ship designs," reported Amy Foster from the tactical station. Amy was the ship's weapons officer, a serious woman with red hair who never missed anything that might be a threat. "Some of them are huge, bigger than our largest carriers." "Any signs of weapons?" Jake asked. Amy studied her screens carefully. "Hard to tell, sir. I'm not seeing anything that looks like the weapons we know, but that doesn't mean they're not armed." Steve Johnson was studying the tactical display. "Captain, look at this. The station appears to be positioned perfectly to control traffic between the inner and outer planets. It's like a checkpoint or a customs office." Jake nodded. That made sense. If multiple alien species traveled through this system, they would need a place to meet and coordinate. But it also meant that humanity had just stumbled into what appeared to be an alien equivalent of a busy spaceport. "Sir, we're being scanned," Lisa reported. "Multiple energy beams are focused on us from the station and at least 6 of the ships." Jake felt his muscles tense. Were the aliens preparing to attack, or were they just curious about the strange new ship that had appeared in their system? "Amy, bring our defensive systems online, but don't charge weapons," Jake ordered. "I want us ready for trouble, but I don't want to look like we're starting a fight." "Aye, sir." Shields up, point defense systems active, but main guns staying cold. For several long minutes, nothing happened. The alien ships continued their scans, while the Defiant floated motionless in space. Jake could feel the tension building on the bridge. His crew was well trained and experienced, but this was completely outside anything they had ever faced. "Captain, 3 ships are breaking away from the station," Steve reported. "They're heading our way." Jake watched as 3 of the elegant alien vessels began moving toward the Defiant. They moved smoothly and silently, like dolphins swimming through water. Each ship was about half the size of the Defiant, but something about them suggested they were far more advanced than anything humanity had built. "Sir, I'm getting a signal," Lisa announced. "It's not radio or any communication method we use. The computer is trying to decode it now." The main screen flickered and began showing a series of mathematical symbols and geometric shapes. Jake recognized some of them prime numbers, basic physics equations, simple geometric figures. The aliens were trying to establish that they were intelligent beings who understood the universe. "Dr. Wade, what do you think?" Jake asked. Helen studied the symbols carefully. "It's a standard first contact protocol, Captain. They're showing us they understand mathematics and physics. They want us to respond with similar information to prove we're intelligent too. Lisa, transmit our response. Use the same format they did, but send them information about Earth and humanity." Lisa's fingers flew across her keyboard as she prepared humanity's first message to an alien species. She sent mathematical proofs, information about Earth's position in the galaxy, and basic details about human biology and culture. The response came quickly. The alien symbols became more complex, showing star charts and what appeared to be information about multiple worlds and species. Jake realized they were being told that many different aliens used this station. "Captain, the 3 ships are taking up positions around us," Amy reported. "They're not threatening, but they're definitely surrounding us." Jake could see the alien ships on the tactical display. They had moved to form a triangle around the Defiant, keeping a respectful distance, but clearly ready to react if the humans did something hostile. "Sir, I'm getting a new transmission," Lisa said. "This one is different, more complex." The main screen changed to show what appeared to be a docking bay inside the station. Then the image switched to show various alien beings walking through corridors. Jake saw tall, thin creatures that seemed to be made of living crystal. There were beings with multiple arms that moved like underwater plants. and there were others that looked like giant insects but walked upright like humans. "They're inviting us to dock with the station," Dr. Wade said excitedly. "They want to meet us face to face." Jake felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries, actual contact with alien intelligence. But it was also the most dangerous moment in human history. If this went wrong, it could mean war with beings who clearly had technology far beyond anything Earth could produce. "Amy, what's your assessment of their military capabilities?" Jake asked. Amy studied her instruments carefully. "Sir, their ships don't match any weapon systems in our database, but they're clearly more advanced than us. Their energy output is off the charts, and they're using propulsion methods we don't understand. If they wanted to destroy us, they probably could." Jake made his decision. "Lisa, send a response accepting their invitation. Tell them we want to send a small group aboard their station." As the message was transmitted, Jake turned to his crew. "Steve, you have the ship. I'm taking Dr. Wade and 3 security officers to meet our new neighbors. If something goes wrong, you get the Defiant back to Earth and warn Admiral Crawford." Steve nodded grimly. "Understood, Captain." As Jake prepared to leave his ship and step into the unknown, he looked one more time at the alien station on the main screen. Somewhere inside that structure, beings from other worlds were waiting to meet humanity for the first time. He just hoped they would be friendly. The shuttle bay of the alien station was unlike anything Jake Morrison had ever seen. The walls seemed to glow with their own soft light, and the floor was made of some material that felt warm beneath his boots. Strange symbols covered every surface, pulsing with gentle colors that reminded him of a slow heartbeat. Jake walked beside Dr. Helen Wade and diplomat Frank Cooper, with 3 armed security officers following behind them. Frank was a calm man in his 50s who had spent years negotiating peace treaties on Earth. If anyone could handle first contact with aliens, it was Frank. "Remember," Frank said quietly as they walked, "we're here to learn and make friends. No sudden movements, no aggressive gestures. We represent all of humanity today." Their escort was a being that stood 8 feet tall and appeared to be made of living crystal. Its body caught the light and threw rainbows across the corridor walls. When it moved, Jake could hear a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. The creature had introduced itself through their translation devices as Guide Shenter of the Zalari species. "Your vessel is unusual," Shenter said, its voice sounding like music played on glass instruments. "We have not seen design patterns like yours before. It appears built for conflict rather than exploration." Jake felt uncomfortable under the alien's gaze. "Our ship is designed for defense. Earth has had many wars, so we learned to build strong ships." "Wars?" Shenter seemed confused by the word. "You mean organized violence between your own species? This is difficult to understand." As they walked deeper into the station, Jake saw more aliens than he had ever imagined possible. Tall beings with tentacles instead of arms glided past them like underwater dancers. These were the Aquari, according to their translation devices. Small, furry creatures with 6 legs scurried along the walls, carrying tools and equipment, and everywhere there were the insect-like beings that stood upright like humans but had 4 arms and compound eyes. "The station serves as a meeting place for all species in this region of the galaxy," Shenter explained. "Here we share knowledge, trade resources, and solve problems through discussion rather than force." They entered a large chamber with a domed ceiling that showed a view of space outside. Around a curved table sat representatives from a dozen different species. Jake had never felt so small and primitive as he did walking into that room. "Welcome, beings of Earth," said a tall Aquari, with blue-green skin and tentacles that moved like silk ribbons. "I am Ambassador Valenaire. We are honored to meet the newest species to reach the stars." Jake, Helen, and Frank took their seats at the table. The chairs adjusted automatically to fit their human bodies, which impressed Jake more than he wanted. To admit, "We come in peace," Frank said, using the formal greeting they had practiced during the 3-month journey. "Humanity seeks friendship and knowledge from the other species of the galaxy." "Knowledge we are happy to share," replied Ambassador Velinari. "But first, we must discuss your vessel. The Galactic Cooperative has strict rules about weapons and warfare. We have achieved peace among the stars by agreeing that violence is never the answer to problems." Jake felt a cold knot form in his stomach. "Our ship carries weapons for defense only. We would never attack peaceful beings." A new voice spoke up from across the table. It was harsh and clicking, like rocks grinding together. Jake looked too, see one of the insect-like beings rising from its chair. This creature was larger than the others, with scarred armor and what looked like old battle damage on its shell. "I am War Leader Kethfer of the Vector Hive," the alien said, "and I believe these humans lie about their peaceful intentions. Look at their ship. It is a weapon of war, not exploration. They carry nuclear explosives and kinetic weapons designed to kill." The room fell silent. Jake could feel the mood changing as the other aliens looked at him with new suspicion in their eyes. "War Leader Kethfer speaks the truth," Dr. Wade said, calmly. "Our ship does carry weapons, but only because humanity has learned that the universe can be dangerous. We carry these weapons to protect ourselves and others who cannot protect themselves. There are no dangers in civilized space," Ambassador Velinari said firmly. "The Galactic Cooperative has eliminated warfare. There has been no armed conflict between species for over 1,000 years." Frank leaned forward in his chair. "With respect, Ambassador, humanity has learned that peace must sometimes be defended with strength. We hope never to use our weapons, but we will not travel defenseless through unknown space." War Leader Kethfer's compound eyes glittered with what looked like anger. "This proves my point. These humans think like warriors, not civilized beings. They will bring violence back to the galaxy. They must be stopped before they can corrupt others with their primitive thinking." "Now wait just a minute," Jake said, standing up from his chair. "We came here in peace. We've done nothing to threaten anyone." "Your very existence is a threat," Kethfer replied. "Your ship carries enough firepower to destroy cities. Your crew is trained for warfare. You represent everything the Galactic Cooperative has worked to eliminate." Shenter raised one crystalline hand. "Perhaps we should continue this discussion calmly. There is no need for harsh words or accusations." But War Leader Kethfer was already moving toward the exit. "The Dector Hive has made its decision. These humans and their warship are a danger to galactic peace. We will eliminate this threat before it can spread." Jake felt his blood turn cold. "Are you threatening us?" "I am protecting the galaxy," Kethfer replied. "Your ship will be destroyed, and your crew will be prevented from returning to your homeworld with knowledge of our location. This is for the greater good of all peaceful species." The alien diplomat left the chamber, followed by several other Vector representatives. Jake could hear clicking and buzzing sounds that he assumed was their language, but the tone was clearly aggressive. Ambassador Velinari looked distressed. "Captain Morrison, I must warn you that the Vector have a significant military force. In this system, while the Galactic Cooperative does not approve of violence, we cannot prevent individual species from acting to defend themselves." Frank was already standing. "We need to return to our ship immediately." As they hurried back through the corridors of the station, Jake's communicator crackled to life. It was Steve Johnson's voice, tense and urgent. "Captain, we have a problem. 3 large Dectar warships just undocked from the station, and they're heading straight for us. Their weapon systems are powering up." Jake broke into a run, Dr. Wade and Frank keeping pace beside him. "Steve, get the ship ready for combat. Charge all weapons and prepare for evasive maneuvers." "Sir, their ships are twice the size of the Defiant. Our sensors show they have energy weapons we've never seen before. As they reached the shuttle bay, Jake could see the Vecta warships through the transparent walls. They were massive, dark vessels that looked like giant beetles floating through space. Energy crackled along their hulls, and Jake could see weapon ports opening along their sides. "Shenter," Jake said to their crystal escort, "can you stop this?" The Zelari being's light dimmed sadly. "The Galactic Cooperative cannot interfere in what the Dektar claim is self-defense. I am sorry, Captain Morrison. Your species has made a poor first impression." As their shuttle raced back toward the Defiant, Jake watched the alien warships positioning themselves for attack. Humanity's first contact with galactic civilization was about to become humanity's first battle among the stars. "Sir," came Amy Foster's voice over the radio, "the Dektar ships are targeting us. What are your orders?" Jake looked at the alien vessels through the shuttle's window. They were beautiful and terrible, like mechanical dragons preparing to breathe fire. In a few minutes, he would find out if a human warship could survive against technology 1,000 years more advanced than Earth's. "Amy," Jake said into his communicator, "show them what humans do when someone threatens our family." Jake Morrison barely made it back to the Defiance bridge before the first Dektar warship opened fire. The alien vessel launched a beam of pure energy that lit up space like a miniature star. The beam struck the Defiant's shields and sent vibrations through the entire ship. "Shields down to 60%, Amy Foster reported from her tactical station. "But they're holding." Captain Jake threw himself into his command chair as another energy blast rocked the ship. Around him, his crew worked with the calm efficiency of people who had trained for this moment their entire careers. "Steve, evasive maneuvers. Don't let them get a clean shot at us," Jake ordered. Commander Steve Johnson's hands flew over his controls, sending the Defiant into a rolling dive that would have made any pilot proud. The ship twisted and turned through space like a dancer, avoiding 2 more energy beams that lit up the darkness. "Sir, the alien ships are trying to surround us," Amy reported. "They're coordinating their attacks to trap us between them." On the main screen, Jake could see the 3 Vectar warships moving into position. Each ship was twice the size of the Defiant, with dark armor that seemed to absorb light and weapons that crackled with dangerous energy. They moved slowly but precisely, like hunters who were certain their prey couldn't escape. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildup in all 3 ships," Lisa Park called out from communications. "I think they're preparing some kind of combined attack." Jake watched the alien vessels positioning themselves in a triangle around the Defiant. Their plan was obvious: hit the human ship from 3 directions at once, overwhelming its defenses and ending the fight quickly. "Amy, what's our status?" Jake asked. "All weapons charged and ready, sir. Point defense systems online. We have full loads of missiles and kinetic rounds." Jake made his decision. For 3 months, he had hoped first contact would be peaceful. Now that hope was dead, killed by aliens who thought humanity was too dangerous to live. If the galaxy wanted to see what human warriors could do, he would show them. "Target the lead ship with everything we have. Steve, take us straight at them, sir." Steve looked surprised. "You want to charge directly at 3 enemy ships? Trust me, Steve. The one thing they won't expect is for us to attack." The Defiant's engines roared to full power, sending the ship racing toward the largest decked warship. On the bridge, Jake could feel the deck vibrating under his feet as Chief Engineer Carlos Martinez pushed the fusion reactor beyond its normal limits. "Range to target, 50,000 kilometers and closing," Amy announced. The Vector ships reacted exactly as Jake had hoped. Surprised by the human ship's aggressive charge, they hesitated for just a moment, trying to decide if this was a desperate attack or some kind of trap. 40,000 kilometers, 30,000, 20,000. "Amy, fire everything," Jake commanded. The Defiant erupted in violence. Nuclear-tipped missiles streaked through space toward the Vector warship. Kinetic rounds, solid metal projectiles moving at incredible speed, followed behind them. And from the ship's main guns came streams of explosive shells that lit up space. Like deadly fireworks, the Vector ship's energy shields flared as the human weapon struck home. But these shields were designed to stop energy beams, not physical projectiles moving at thousands of kilometers per second. The kinetic rounds punched through the alien defenses like bullets through paper. Direct hits. Amy shouted triumphantly, "Their shields are down." The nuclear missiles struck next, turning the alien warship's hull into twisted metal and flame. Explosions ripped through the vessel as its own weapon systems overloaded and detonated. Within seconds, the mighty Vector warship was breaking apart, its crew fleeing in escape pods. "One down, 2 to go," Jake said grimly. But the other Vector ships had recovered from their surprise. Energy beams lanced out from both vessels, striking the Defiant's hull and sending showers of sparks across the bridge. "Shields failing," Amy reported. "Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. Emergency teams to all damaged sections," Steve ordered, over the ship's communication system. Jake studied the tactical display. The 2 remaining alien ships were trying to flank the Defiant, using their superior speed to attack from both sides at once. It was a good strategy against most enemies, but Jake had an idea. "Amy, load proximity mines into tubes 1 through 4. Steve, bring us around to face the smaller ship." "Proximity mines, sir." Amy looked confused. "Those are designed for area denial, not ship-to-ship combat. Today, they're ship killers, trust me." The Defiant turned toward the smaller Vector vessel, which immediately began firing energy beams to keep the human ship at a distance. But Jake wasn't planning to get close. As soon as the alien ship came within range, he gave the order, "Fire." Mines full spread. 4 small devices shot out from the Defiant's missile tubes. They looked harmless enough, just metal spheres about the size of basketballs. The Vector ship ignored them, focusing its fire on the larger threat of the human warship. The mines drifted through space until they were scattered around the alien vessel. Then they exploded all at once, filling the area with deadly fragments moving in every direction. The Vector ship, caught in the middle of the explosion, was shredded by thousands of high-speed metal pieces. "Second target destroyed," Amy announced, with satisfaction. That left 1 Vector warship, and Jake could see on his screens that it was trying to retreat. The alien captain had apparently decided that fighting humans was more dangerous than he had expected. "Sir, the last ship is running," Steve reported. "No," Jake said firmly. "They started this fight. We're going to finish it." The Defiant pursued the fleeing alien ship, its engines straining to keep up with the more advanced vessel. But the Vector warship had been damaged in the earlier fighting, and it couldn't maintain full speed. "Range decreasing," Amy called out. "We'll be in missile range in 30 seconds. Jake watched the alien ship growing larger on the main screen. Part of him felt sorry for the crew of that vessel. They had probably expected an easy victory over the primitive humans. Instead, they had learned that sometimes primitive could also mean deadly. "Amy, target their engines. I want them disabled, not destroyed." "Aye, sir." Firing. 2 missiles streaked through space and struck the Vector ship's engine section. Explosions blossomed along the alien vessel's hull, and it immediately began losing speed. "Target disabled, Captain. They're dead in space." Jake looked around, his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were tired, bruised, and covered with sweat from the battle, but they were alive, and they had proven that human ships could fight with the best the galaxy had to offer. Lisa opened a channel to the alien station. The main screen showed Ambassador Velinari's face, and Jake could see shock and disbelief in the alien's large eyes. "Captain Morrison," Velinari said slowly, "what have you done?" "We defended ourselves," Jake replied simply. Your war leader Kethfer attacked us without provocation. We responded as any species would respond to unprovoked aggression. But the Decta fleet was the most powerful military force in this sector. Their ships were armed with the most advanced weapons in the galaxy. How did you? Jake smiled grimly. Ambassador, the galaxy has been at peace for 1,000 years. You've forgotten how to fight real wars. Humanity never forgot. We've been fighting each other for our entire history. We know things about warfare that your people never had to learn. On the screen, Jake could see other aliens gathering behind Velinari, all of them staring at the human captain with a mixture of fear and amazement. We came here in peace, Jake continued. We wanted to be friends with the galaxy. But if the galaxy wants to fight, then we'll fight. And as you just saw, we're very good at it. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Defiant in silence. Outside the windows, Jake could see the wreckage of 2 Thektar warships floating in space, proof that humanity had passed its first test among the stars. Sir, Amy said quietly, sensors show every ship in the system is moving away from us. I think we scared them. Jake nodded. Good. Fear meant respect, and respect meant humanity would have a voice in whatever came next. Set course for the station, Jake ordered. It's time to renegotiate our membership in this galactic cooperative. The conference room on the alien station felt very different this time. When Jake Morrison walked in with Dr. Helen Wade and Frank Cooper, every alien in the room stood up as a sign of respect, the same beings who had looked at humanity with suspicion a few hours ago now watched them with careful attention. Ambassador, Velinari gestured for the humans to sit at the head of the curved table. Captain Morrison, the Galactic Cooperative Council, has spent the last 3 hours discussing what happened today. We have reached several important decisions. Jake sat down and looked around the room. Representatives from a dozen species were present, but he noticed that no Vector were among them. Whereas war leader Kethfer, the surviving Nektar have requested permission to leave this system, replied Shenter, the crystalline Zalari. They claim they need to reconsider their approach to galactic relations. I see, Jake said. He wasn't surprised. The Vector had started a fight, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had learned that human military technology was far more dangerous than it appeared. A new alien spoke up, one Jake hadn't seen before. This being was covered in silver fur, and had 6 arms that moved independently of each other. I am Trademaster Zixelin, of the Harani Commerce Guild. Captain Morrison. My people are very interested in establishing trade relations with humanity. What kind of trade? Frank Cooper asked. As a diplomat, Frank understood that trade was often the first step toward real friendship between species. We wish to exchange our advanced manufacturing techniques for your military innovations, Zixulin replied carefully. Many species in the galaxy are beginning to realize that our peaceful existence has left us vulnerable to threats we had not considered. Dr. Wade leaned forward in her chair. What kind of threats? Ambassador Velen answered her question. Captain, there are regions of the galaxy where the Galactic Cooperative has little influence. Pirates, raiders, and worse things exist beyond our borders. For 1,000 years, we have assumed that our peaceful nature would protect us from such dangers, but today proved that assumption wrong, added another alien that looked like a walking tree with flowers for eyes. Your ship demonstrated that warfare technology has advanced far beyond what our defenses can handle. Jake was beginning to understand. You want us to help you defend yourselves. More than that, Shenter said, its crystal body ringing like bells. We want to offer humanity full membership in the Galactic Cooperative, with special status as our military advisors and protectors. The room fell silent as the weight of those words settled over everyone present. Jake felt his heart racing. Humanity had come to the stars hoping to join galactic civilization. Now they were being asked to lead it. What exactly would that mean? Frank asked. Ambassador Velinari stood up and activated a holographic display that showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Thousands of star systems glowed in different colors, representing the various species and territories. The Galactic Cooperative controls approximately 40% of this galactic region, Velinari explained. The green systems are peaceful, member species. The yellow systems are neutral territories. The red systems, those are controlled by aggressive species that do not recognize our authority. Jake studied the map carefully. The red systems formed a rough border around the peaceful green ones, like a ring of fire surrounding an island of calm. The hegemony of Raktar controls most of the red systems, continued Velinari. They are a warrior species that believes strength gives them the right to rule over weaker beings. For centuries, they have been slowly expanding their territory, conquering peaceful worlds and enslaving their populations. Dr. Wade looked shocked. Why hasn't the Galactic Cooperative stopped them? Because we cannot, Shenter admitted sadly. Our ships are designed for exploration and trade, not warfare. Our weapons are ceremonial at best. When the Raktar attack, our only option is to retreat and hope they will be satisfied with what they have taken. Jake was starting to see the bigger picture. You want humanity to be your military arm. When someone threatens the cooperative, you want us to fight them. Yes, Velinari said simply. In exchange, we offer you access to all our technology, full membership in our government, and the resources of hundreds of worlds. Humanity would become the protectors of galactic civilization. Frank Cooper was taking notes on a small device. This is a huge decision. We would need to consult with our government on Earth before agreeing to anything like this. Of course, agreed Trademaster Zixelin. But consider this. Your species has already proven itself capable of defeating advanced alien technology. Today's battle will be analyzed by military experts across the galaxy. Within months, every aggressive species will know that humanity possesses weapons and tactics they cannot match. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. You're saying we're already targets? I'm saying you're already players in the galactic game, whether you want to be or not, Zixelin replied. The question is whether you want to play as part of our team or by yourselves. Dr. Wade was studying the holographic map. Captain, look. At this, the Raktar territory extends almost to the edge of our local stellar neighborhood. If they continue expanding, they could threaten Earth within a few decades. Jake saw it too. The red systems on the map formed a spreading stain that was growing larger with each passing year. If humanity remained isolated on Earth, they would eventually face the Raktar alone and unprepared. Admiral Crawford needs to see this, Jake said finally. The entire leadership of Earth needs to understand what we're facing. We have prepared a complete information package for your government, Ambassador Velinari said. Historical records, tactical analyses, technology specifications, everything humanity will need to make an informed decision. Shenter chimed softly. Captain Morrison, there is one more thing. The demonstration of your ship's capabilities today has already had consequences. 3 neutral species have requested protection from the Galactic Cooperative. They are willing to join our alliance, if we can guarantee their safety. And you can't guarantee their safety without human military support, Jake concluded. Exactly. Your species has given us something we lost long ago, the ability to defend what we believe in. Peace is only meaningful when it is protected by those willing to fight for it. Jake stood up and walked to the holographic display. He touched one of the green systems, and information appeared showing a peaceful world of crystal beings like Shentar. Then he touched a red system, and the display showed images of enslaved populations and burning cities. How many people die while the Galactic Cooperative talks about peace? Jake asked. Millions every year, Velinari answered sadly. We mourn them, we remember them, but we cannot save them. Not without help. Jake looked at his companions. Dr. Wade was studying the alien technology displays with fascination. Frank Cooper was calculating the political implications of humanity becoming a galactic power. Both of them were thinking the same thing Jake was thinking. This was bigger than first contact. This was humanity's chance to become something more than a single species on a single world. "We'll take your proposal back to Earth," Jake said finally. "But I can tell you what I think our answer will be." "Oh," Ambassador Velinari looked hopeful. Jake smiled. "Humanity has never walked away from a fight when innocent people needed protection. We've been waiting our entire history for a cause worthy of our best efforts. I think we just found it." As the meeting ended and the aliens began making preparations for humanity's return to Earth, Jake looked out through the station's windows at the stars. Somewhere out there, aggressive species were threatening peaceful worlds. Pirates were raiding trading ships. Slavers were capturing innocent beings to sell in distant markets. For 1,000 years, the galaxy had tried to solve these problems with words and good intentions. Now they were asking humanity to solve them with ships and weapons and the hard-earned knowledge of how to fight and win. Jake thought about his sister back on Earth, teaching children in her classroom. Soon, she and everyone else on Earth would learn that humanity was no longer alone in the universe. They would also learn that their neighbors needed help, and that only humans had the skills to provide that help. The Defiant had shocked the galaxy by proving that human warriors were more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Now humanity would have to decide if they were ready to become the galaxy's guardians. Looking at the peaceful green systems on the holographic map, Jake was pretty sure he knew what that decision would be. Humanity had spent centuries fighting each other. It was time to fight for something bigger. It was time to fight for everyone.